HOA fined me $500 for using my own road, so I built a better one and banned them all. The road that was always there, the road had existed long before the neighborhood. A simple gravel road winding through a stretch of wooded land and open fields. It connected the old highway to several rural properties deeper in the valley. For decades it had been used by farmers, hunters, and the occasional delivery truck. My family owned the land around that road. In fact, the road itself technically crossed a section of our property, but no one ever made a big deal about it. People used it respectfully. Everyone got where they needed to go, and life stayed simple. The new neighborhood. Everything changed when a large development company bought land nearby. Within 2 years, a brand new neighborhood appeared. Rows of modern houses, fresh sidewalks, bright streetlights, a large stone sign at the entrance that proudly displayed the community name. With the houses came something else, an HOA. At first, the new residents didn't pay much attention to the old gravel road. They mostly used the paved streets inside their neighborhood. But slowly more and more people discovered that my gravel road was a shortcut. Using it saved several minutes when driving to the highway, so residents started using it regularly. The HOA begins watching. The HOA board eventually noticed the traffic, and like many HOA boards, they decided they should control it. Karen was the president. She had strong opinions about everything: parking rules, fence colors, holiday decorations, and now the gravel road. Karen believed the road should be considered part of the community's infrastructure, even though the property record said otherwise. The letter in my mailbox. One afternoon, I opened my mailbox and found something strange. An official-looking envelope from the HOA. Inside was a notice. It claimed I had violated a community rule by driving on the gravel road without HOA permission. At first, I thought it was a joke, but the bottom of the letter showed something ridiculous: a $500 fine for using my own road. The first confrontation, I drove to the HOA office the next day. Karen was sitting behind a desk reviewing paperwork. I placed the letter on the table. "You fined me for driving on my own property," I said calmly. Karen didn't even look surprised. "The road is being used by the community," she replied. "That makes it subject to HOA regulations." I stared at her for a moment. "You realize I own the land under that road?" Karen leaned back in her chair. "Our legal team disagrees." The HOA doubles down. Over the next few weeks, the HOA continued sending notices. Late fees were added to the original fine. They insisted the road was now considered a shared community route. Karen even claimed the HOA could restrict who used it, which was ironic, because the person they were restricting was the owner. Reading the property records instead of arguing endlessly, I went to the county records office. I pulled the property maps, survey documents, historical land agreements. Everything confirmed what I already knew. The gravel road sat entirely within my property boundaries. No easements giving the HOA control. No agreements transferring authority. Nothing, legally speaking. It was just my private road. A new idea. That's when I noticed something interesting. My property extended further down the valley. There was enough land to build an alternate access road connecting my house directly to the highway. It would be longer, but it would also be paved, wider, and much better than the old gravel route. So I made a decision. Instead of fighting the HOA over the existing road, I would build a new one. Construction begins. Over the next few weeks, construction crews arrived. Bulldozers cleared a new path through the valley. Gravel trucks delivered loads of material. Eventually, a smooth paved road stretched across my property, connecting directly to the highway. It was better than the old road in every way: safer, faster, and entirely under my control. Closing the old road once the new road was finished, I returned to the original gravel road. At the entrance where it crossed my property line, one installed a large metal gate. Next to it, I placed a clear sign: "Private road, nitrogen monoxide, unauthorized access." Then I locked the gate. The morning confusion. The next morning, HOA residents discovered something surprising. The shortcut they had been using for months was suddenly closed. Cars lined up at the gate. Drivers stared at the locked entrance. Some people tried turning around. Others simply sat there confused. Phones came out, and within minutes Karen was on her way. Karen arrives. Furious, Karen's SUV pulled up beside the gate. She jumped out immediately. "You can't close this road," she shouted. I stood calmly beside the fence. "Actually, I can," I replied. "It's private property." Karen pointed toward the neighborhood. "Our residents depend on this route." I shrugged. "You fined me $500 for using it." The argument. Karen insisted the HOA had authority over the road. I pulled out the property survey. Every boundary line clearly showed the road crossing my land. Karen's voice got louder. "This is retaliation." "No," I said. "This is property rights." The police call. Karen eventually called the police. A patrol car arrived about 20 minutes later. The officer stepped out and looked at the locked gate. Karen immediately began explaining the situation. She insisted the road belonged to the community. I handed the officer the property documents. He studied them carefully, then looked back at Karen. "The officer's response, ma'am," he said calmly. "This road is on private property." Karen's face turned pale. The officer continued. "The owner has the right to restrict access." Karen tried arguing again, but the law was clear. The gate stayed closed. The HOA realizes the problem over the next few days. Residents began complaining to the HOA board. Without the shortcut, their commute to the highway was longer. Traffic inside the neighborhood increased, and many people realized something important. The HOA had created the entire problem by trying to control land they didn't own. The better road, meanwhile, I started using my brand new paved road. It was smooth, quiet, and far better than the old gravel path. Delivery trucks used it, friends used it, and anyone I personally allowed could access it. But the HOA residents, they were no longer welcome. Karen's final defeat. Eventually the HOA stopped sending letters. The fines disappeared. Karen never mentioned the road again because she finally understood something. Trying to control someone else's property can backfire badly, especially when that person owns the road you're trying to regulate. What would you do if an HOA fined you for using your own property? Would you fight the fine, take legal action, or do exactly what I did and close the road entirely? Comment below and tell me what you would do, and don't forget to write your city and country in the comments. If you enjoy stories like this, like the video and subscribe for more unbelievable HOA stories, and I'll see you in the next one.